This video is called Quantum Reality Creation for Skeptics, also known as reality hacking without the woo. Let me be clear. What I'm going to tell you isn't about belief. It's not about crystals, mantras, or suspending your intellect. This is about results, tangible, measurable, and real. Hi, I'm Paul Limburg. I'm the creator of the Quantum Reality Creation Program, and today we're going to talk about quantum reality hacking without too much woo. You're about to learn how tools that sound pretty woo at first glance are actually grounded in neuroscience, quantum theory, and practical psychology. If you're skeptical, good. This video was made exactly for skeptics. So here's what most people miss. Your brain does not show you reality. It shows you a filtered version of reality, filtered through what you expect, what you believe, and who you think you are. This is not philosophy. This is biology. Let me break it down with 3 facts. Number 1, the reticular activating system filters 99% of your sensory input unless that input connects directly to your identity or your goals. Number 2, confirmation bias deletes anything that doesn't match your story. Number 3, neuroplasticity. This means the more you think a thought, the easier your brain makes it to think it again. So when you shift your identity, even temporarily, you shift the entire reality you notice, act on, and create. Let's talk on a simple level about quantum physics. In quantum physics, there is something called the observer effect, and it proves quite literally that observing something changes its outcome. Physicists found that unobserved particles, the tiniest building blocks of the universe, behave one way and suddenly behave differently when they're being watched by a conscious mind. In a series of experiments, most famously the double slit experiment, light acts like a wave and contains a smear of almost limitless possible states. That's when no one is observing it. But the moment it's observed, and it must be observed by a conscious mind, it collapses from a wave of possibilities into a particle, choosing one specific state of existence. So what does that mean? That reality isn't solid or definite until you focus on it. This is not just a metaphysical concept. This is quantum science. And it means something astonishing. What you pay attention to comes concretely into existence. What you expect becomes your experience. And what you observe with belief becomes real. You are not a bystander. You are a creator. So what does that mean for you and me? It means your attention affects what unfolds. Not because you're manifesting magic, but because attention shifts the opportunities, ideas, and people that you interact with. You stop recycling the past and you start surfing possibility. So let me show you what this looks like in real life. You have a default identity. It's built from trauma, repetition, and survival, and that identity limits what feels safe or possible for you, even what actions your nervous system will allow. But when you consciously shift your identity, new behavior unlocks. It's like a secret cheat code. I've seen people go from anxiety to being brilliant public speakers, from burnout to 6-figure side businesses, and from toxic patterns to transformational love, all from changing who they believe they are before taking any action or seeing the results. So let's make this practical. Here are 3 tools to test this for yourself. Tool number 1, embodied identity practice. Each morning, step into your future self. Posture, breath, choices. Be that person for 5 minutes, then journal what changes during your day. Tool number 2, 24-hour reframe challenge. Every time something goes wrong, say, what if this is for me? Feel the difference. And tool number 3, pattern interrupt anchoring. Notice your go-to sabotage move. Pick an anchor, a wrist tap, a deep breath, or a mantra. Use it to interrupt the loop right in the moment. Now here's the truth. You don't have to believe any of this. You only have to be curious enough to try. Because the biggest breakthroughs don't come from adding more tactics. They come from becoming the version of you who doesn't need the old versions of you. Try it. Watch what shifts. Let your results be the proof. Now we're just getting started. Let's take a quick look at two more of the most powerful and mind-bending truths in all of quantum reality creation. Remember, this is not just science fiction, it's science fact. And when you understand the way it works, you can use it to transform your life from the inside out. This is a reality-shifting dive into the quantum truths that power your ability to design your life consciously, deliberately, and powerfully. Two more of the most important and well-known phenomena involved in quantum mechanics, Schrodinger's cat and quantum entanglement, are both fascinating and seriously misunderstood. Let's look at how they apply to you and the life you're creating. Schrodinger's cat is one of the most iconic thought experiments of all time. Imagine a cat in a sealed box with a mechanism triggered by a quantum event. That is when the device in the box detects a cosmic ray. It causes a vial of poison to be smashed open. So before the box is open, the poison might be free in the box or not. The theory is that if a cosmic ray hits the detector, the vial is smashed and it kills the cat. But no one outside the sealed box can tell whether or not that has happened. Thus, according to quantum physics, until someone opens the box, the cat is both alive and dead. This is called existing in a superposition of states. And this is not just a bunch of crazy stuff from some mad scientist. The cat being both alive and dead at the same time, this is a scientific truth. Crazy, right? But that's the quantum world. Just like the cat, every version of you exists right now, including a version where you're stuck and a version where you thrive and have everything you've ever wanted. In other words, your entire life is an example of superposition. That is, until you choose, until you observe a version with intention, all those versions of you are real. Your decision to focus on one outcome collapses the wave into a particle, and it becomes real in your world. Now let's bring this home with quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement occurs when two particles come in contact with each other. They are said to become entangled. Once entangled, no matter how far apart they are, changes to one cause instant changes in the other. Instantly, not at light speed, but faster than light speed, just plain instantly. Here's what that means for your life. You are not separate from the reality you want to create. You're entangled with it, energetically, consciously, spiritually. And when you change your vibration, your identity, your emotions, the reality you're entangled with responds instantly. So when you begin embodying a new version of yourself, the version that already has the success, the love, the health, reality has no choice but to sync up. This is the quantum secret most people miss. And in quantum reality creation, it's the foundation of everything. Let me give you an example from my own life. Years ago, I was suffering from ulcerative colitis, a debilitating, messy, and painful condition that made life unpredictable and truly frustrating. Doctors told me it could never be cured and that I'd be managing symptoms with nasty drugs for the rest of my life. I lived with it for 10 years, but at one point decided I didn't want that anymore. I was reading a book by Deepak Chopra, which suggested that since everything was made of energy, I could use the energy of my thoughts to impact physical reality, and that would enable me to cure myself. So I made a new and different choice. I chose to be on a path where I could actually cure colitis. I started observing and embodying a future where I was healthy, pain-free, and strong. I visualized it. I journaled it. I meditated on it daily. I became that version of myself in my mind before it showed up in my body. I spent a whole year focusing on becoming healthy and living without this illness. I meditated on a visualization for 2 hours every single day. And over time, amazingly, that version of myself became real. My symptoms disappeared. My health came back to me. Science couldn't explain it. Doctors couldn't explain it, but quantum theory did. Much later, just a few years ago, I was told I had an aortic aneurysm, a seriously life-threatening condition. Not only serious, but terrifying. My physician told me that I could drop dead at any moment. But because of my personal history, I chose not to obsess over this diagnosis. I started to focus on the version of me who was vibrant, healed, and strong. And I had a strong belief that I could cure myself of this, which was aided by my experience with colitis. Every day, I stepped into that reality with belief, action, and embodiment. The results? Miraculous. My medical situation improved dramatically. This was not luck. This was not coincidence. It was conscious reality creation. Weirdly, against all science and against all odds, a second diagnostic imaging test showed that the aneurysm had disappeared. You can see I have some experience with changing the material world with my thoughts. So here's something else that is difficult to explain, given standard 3D world thinking. I had graduated from art school, and upon graduating, I concluded that I did not want to live my life as a starving artist, which is what I saw in the cards for me. And I didn't have any skill set that would help me make any money or support myself. An apparition, I call it that because I actually have no idea who or what gave me the idea, but someone or something told me that I should become a software programmer and that it was possible for me since anyone could do it. This wasn't actually true, but I believed the bearer of this message, so I took it as truth. At that time, I had zero experience, zero training, and zero education in which to be a programmer. Typically, someone in my position would be unable to get a job, but miraculously, I met someone who interviewed me who had gone to my high school, and she liked me and decided to hire me. I was given an opportunity that perhaps I did not deserve. And again, miraculously, without any prior training or experience, I walked into that job, and on my first day, I knew exactly how to do the work. I knew just what to do. I believe I was divinely gifted with the skills and the abilities and the job. And I turned out to be very, very good at it, ultimately founding a successful software company and having a very prosperous career. Somehow, I became it. There is no real explanation for this other than I saw it, felt it, and I believed it, and reality reorganized itself around those observations. Let's shift gears and talk about quantum mechanics for a few minutes. There are three important ideas I'm going to share. The observer effect shows that attention creates form. Schrodinger's cat reveals that all possibilities are alive until you decide on one of them. Quantum entanglement means your inner shifts create instant outer responses. These aren't just theories. They're your user manual for creating reality. So when you align your thoughts, emotions, and identity with the version of you that already has what you want, you collapse that version into being. That's quantum reality creation. So here's what I want you to do today. Visualize the version of you who already has what you want. Feel the emotions that version feels now. Take one action that matches their behavior. Say out loud, I am now observing the reality I choose, and do this every day. Reality will follow. Most people are simply reacting to the world they are born into, but you, because you're here with this video, you are not here to react to the world. You're here to shape it. You are the observer, the chooser, the creator, and your reality is waiting for you to collapse the wave and step into the life you were born to live. Let's create something extraordinary with your life. Take a moment, click the button below, and join the Quantum Reality Creation Program.